My people, una don hear another one from wike. Ever since this property allege say e get property here, e get there in his wife's name, this, that. Omo, Oga Wike don dey fear o. Sey even though im dey talk am say im no dey fear, e no care, wetin, say na propaganda. E even don give am name, say na propaganda. This, that. They just dey try to tarnish im name. Why im come dey try to prove a point. Now e no get work o, na defend. If e defend here, e go defend there. Nothing, because e no ever believe say people wey know am go come out with evidences like this. My people, make una come hear matter. Everywhere don burst o. Secrets just dey come out one by one, even from people wey wike know. Na dem dey even dey scatter the whole matter for im hand. Make we watch am together, guys.
Where sometimes, where some of these attacks, this blackmail, propaganda is coming from. Do not bother yourself. If you care to read, read. If you don't care to read, whether I'm bothered, never. When I think about it, it does not, I don't even know it exists. Whether you want to fabricate anything is your business. Fabricate as much as you can. But this work must be done. And I will do it with the support of Mr. President. And that's what is key. So my dear brothers and sisters, I thank you for coming to support us. Look at the number of jobs it will create for our teeming youth. We have 22 days. We have a month for flagging off of projects and commissioned. Secretary Engineer, who just came, I know where you're digging. Sometimes no street light. But go home and sleep now.
Oga, you dey lie. You know that you are scared. Wike, you dey lie. You know that you are scared. You see, I don't care any propaganda. You are lying. You could see the fear in his eyes. I swear, this guy, the fear. On a normal ground, he will have just say, But you see the way he was so careful with his words. Because you know Nigerians are ready right now to carry his matter for. In fact, the kind of things where we say they don't go dig out all in properties for Port Harcourt, or the ones where be there for Abuja, the ones where we say there for US and the rest. You they fear. This video happened just few hours ago. Yeah, they fear. Watch what his former best friend said about him. Just watch. A lot of secrets were revealed. Wike, you are scared, Wike. Leave that thing.
Mr. Wike's statement as a sign of dread and the rising strength. And now, tonight, Chief Dele Momodu, the journalist and a publisher, a former presidential candidate of the NCP, a key member of the ADC coalition, will be joining us for a right of reply on the program. He's supposed to also talk about the remarks made by the Minister of the FCT. Chief Dele Momodu is virtually with us on the program. Thank you tonight, Chief Dele Momodu, for joining us.
Good evening, shøckìñg, and I would like to thank the management of Channels Television for this opportunity, because a lot of people felt that you will be intimidated and bullied, and so you might not be able to take my response. So here we are, and I'm ready for your questions.
All right, we are always fair right here on Channels Television, without having to use the very popular term by the former president Muhammadu Buhari of not belonging to anyone, but you have the interest of all the Nigerian people, whether in power or out of power. But let's get straight to it. And in the conversation that we have prior to this interview, you show just how connected you are to Mr. Nyesom Wike, the FCT minister, your history with him, how you met with him. There's a particular part of the video which is made available to me, which I'd like our viewers to see. Let me play a portion of that video so that everyone can see.
My friend Dele Momodu, one of the respected journalists, to come and see whether it is 3D drawing. At the end of the day, by the time you go around the complex, you will know.
All right. On one hand, this is you in River State. There seems to be some level of cordiality between you and Mr. Wike, and which I'm trying to use this video to establish my very first question, so that Nigerians can know exactly what those who want to lead Nigeria, the issue of what they need to bring forward in terms of he who comes to equity must come with clean hands. So again, this is you and Minister Wike, and it shows some level of conviviality and cordiality.
I thought it's me you wanted to do first. No. The place is filled.
All right. This to me shows around 2019, 2020, or 2021, thereabout. If looking at the pictures.
2022.
So there are a lot of people who will imagine that you and Minister Wike have a level of closeness, that in fact he gave you a job and you lived with you were in River State. But the big question is that there are those who say you collected money from Minister Wike, and was it right to say you took money from him, or you were at some point housed in River State? But now what went wrong? How did you both now side to be enemies?
Well, let me start with some of the messages I received early this morning. A former Attorney General reached out to me and pleaded with me not to wrestle with a pig. He advised I should not wrestle with it. So I will set the record straight. So I'm not here to wrestle with someone who is absolutely shameless, who does not care about anything in this world other than his alcohol. What we witnessed on television last Friday was the height of recklessness and irresponsibility on the part of someone employed by the federal government of Nigeria to look after the interests of every Nigerian and not just that of his cronies, whether in PDP or in APC. It went beyond normal. And so, to answer your question frontally, I was a media consultant to Nyesom Wike around 2022, and you have the video there. I had interviewed Mazi Nnamdi Kanu on this very table. And thereafter, some people reached out to me. That I should give Wike a right of reply because Mazi Nnamdi Kanu blasted him heavily that day. And of course, as a responsible journalist, I accepted to speak to him. He was very excited, and during the interview, he reached out directly, you have the video, that I should bring the Ovation team for 2 weeks. He said it with his own mouth. We didn't beg him. My job is my job. I don't ever joke with my job, and I respect whosoever is a client. Wike at that stage was still a bit normal. Tonight, I would like to dissect Wike's metamorphosis. If you read Wole Soyinka's Jero's metamorphosis, that's what has happened to Wike. Wike started from the spirit, demonic spirit of power. You know, when a man who has been a nobody gets power, he begins to change slowly and steadily. I don't know if you've read the book by the Brazilian author Paulo Freire, Pedagogy of the Oppressed. The oppressed man respects only one man, his oppressor. Wike used to respect Rotimi Amechi. And Rotimi Amechi had been my friend from the time He was Speaker of the River State House of Assembly. On one occasion, when they had their parliamentary conference in Accra, Ghana, Chief Rotimi Amechi led our parliamentarians to my house in Accra, including the former governor of Absina, Aminu Mafari. They all ate in my house. In fact, Mafari told me that was the first time he would enjoy a ban okra. I never went on air to disparage them that okra fell on their garments. But that is wike. So, after that, what happened was wike got power. He became chairman of Phobia for local government. And that was when his metamorphosis started. Of course, after power in Nigeria comes the spirit of money. Also very demonic if you don't know how to manage it well. So wike started making small money. He pretended to be known as Gogoro. He started drinking the most expensive alcohol. I went into Google before this interview to check if there is any similarity or correlation between alcohol and drugs. And I got the confirmation I needed. That in fact, alcohol and drugs are one and the same. They perform the same effects in the drinker and the drunkard. So what I saw on display last Friday on your show showed a man who was absolutely soaked in esoteric spirits. A man who was on a different planet. He was no longer on our planet. Yes, I said it, yes. My appeal to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is that no matter what you are expecting to gain from wike in 2027, wike is not the kind of character you should promote. He's not the kind of young man who should hijack our common patrimony. So, as I said, he brought us into Port Harcourt. He took us everywhere. You can see, he even gave me his Mercedes, his Maybach, his everything. I could do no wrong. When he could not face Nnamdi Kanu's guys in, Oyigbo. Do you know, I was the one who went in there as a journalist to talk to the people live. You can see him. He took me personally around the hospital he was building in the State House. I wish we had the voice. Then you would have seen the way he was introducing me, the great journalist, the great this, the great that. That's wike for you. When wike needs you, when wike needed Dr. Odili, he was very meek. When he needed the impatient Jonathan, he was very meek. If wike needs you, he will do anything in this life. You can see me sitting down in front of him. That is his car. He told them to remove the flag. That was his official car. I appreciated him for it because he was telling me how he used to watch me and his boss, Amici, in those days, flying helicopter. And I think the only time I flew an helicopter in Rivers was when we went for the funeral of then Vice President Goodluck Jonathan in Otuoke. So we had to take an helicopter to go there, Wale Babalaki. I think Iyabo Obasanjo was on that flight with us. So he's been watching us for a long time. And sometimes, again, referring to pedagogy of the oppressed man, according to Paulo Freire, has only one dream in life, to become an oppressor. So when an oppressed man becomes an oppressor, he will go all out.
Yeah. So, I mean,
let me
because
finish that.
the
He will
description,
go all
just
out
a moment.
to now act worse than his former oppressor. Yes.
Chief Dele Momodu, you appear to have benefited financially, of course, from Mr. Nyesom Wike. At what point did you fall out with him? What went wrong? Because you explained your history, which is part of your...
Mr. Nyesom Wike benefited immensely from my talents and from the pedigree of the Ovation Media Group. We touched him up. You know, they say sometimes you can take a man out of the bush, but you cannot take the bush out of the man. We worked on Wike and he was happy. Every morning, when I'm in Port Harcourt, he will ask me to come to his house. We will make sure he dressed up very properly. We make sure that even we did a bit of speech therapy, telling him how to speak to people. But he had one major problem. That major problem was too much alcohol, which when he takes it, and he takes it as early as possible in the morning. I've never tasted gin and tonic in my life. He introduced me to it, that it's a very good drink and everything. I'm surprised he wasn't talking about all those drinks. He was talking about only food. So what then happened was that at some stage, I realized that he had presidential ambition. And I also had presidential ambition. Wike cannot take competition with anybody. So I now wrote a letter to him that my biggest asset is my access to the high and mighty and also the ordinary citizens of Nigeria. Everywhere I go, I meet them. And I told him that in the north of Nigeria, you know something, Wike has a pathological hatred for the northerners because of whatever, I don't know. So I told him, I said, it's going to be difficult for him to get the ticket of the PDP. And I wanted to announce to him that in case he decides not to run, he should support me. From that moment, he got angry. But what I said came true. A former president of Nigeria sent someone to me, someone very, very top, that they should tell me not to waste my money on the PDP primary, that Wike had raised the stakes to $30,000 per delegate, 30,000 times 774 delegates. Of course, if you were to sell my family from fourth generation to the last generation, there was no way I was going to come up with that. And even if I could come up with that, I will never waste it. So you could hear Wike saying on your program, just before the primaries, on your program, when you asked him, so what do you think about the new entrants like Dele Momodu, and he just wait, who is Dele Momodu? That was where our trouble started. What I expected of him was that if you're not going to support a man, if you are going to run a fair race.
Enjoy free cancellation on villas, resorts and more. Book now, pay later. Book with peace of mind on thebooking.com.
And then let's leave it there. I wrote a letter and I copied the former Attorney General. Yes?
Let me ask you, what caused all of these furore and led to personal attacks is a question mark on those of you who are leading the opposition coalition. The question as to whether or not some of you have the credentials of the message of the gospel you are preaching right now to Nigerians. You're saying you're looking for a new Nigeria. You are bringing back a Nigeria that is different. But what is the credential of some of you? And those of you who have, you not apparently, because you have not been in power, those who have been in power for several years, and he's questioned those who have not really had the requisite experience and capacity. The big question is that the ADC, the opposition coalition, and those who are leading it don't have what it takes morally to lead Nigeria at the time. That was a big question Mr. Wike was asking all of you.
Mr. Wike did not know what he was talking about. There is no nation that is governed by saints. Nations are governed by performance. Leadership is not about politics. It is about managing people and resources. Please tell me how many politicians that we have today, whether in APC or in ADC or in PDP, who have done any business in their lives successfully. So it will be an insult to some of us who have labored all our lives. I've been in politics since 1982 when I was 22 years old, and I've never been in any government. But I've interacted with global leaders, and none of them has two heads. It's about how you are able to manage people and resources. If you look today, you want to tell me that Peter Obi has not managed people and resources? You want to tell me that Atiku Abubakar has not managed people and resources? I mean, that would be unfair. So, if you look at those caliber of people and you rubbish them as doing nothing, I knew, for example, when Atiku was vice president of Nigeria, and now the economy was managed at the time, and the quality of young men he surrounded himself with in Aso Rock. I used to go there in those days. And by the way, most of them were from the south of Nigeria. Until today, the work we did for him from 2022 to 2023, I saw the quality of people around him. So it's unfair for Wike to come here. What has Wike done in his life? If he ever practiced, he would have been a charge and bail lawyer if he ever practiced law. Charge and bail.
So the EFCC chairman, I go like say they do a very good job. Recently, I saw a video where you make, they say if you no catch Yahaya Bello, say you go resign. You know? But sir, I like to call your attention to something. See, nobody want enough catch for this country. Nobody want enough catch for the country. So I wonder why Yahaya Bello they stress you. How many of us remember that boy who be threatening the life of EFCC chairman? That one a wrong thing. Yes, even when you pick the boy, we were happy. Say, yes, some people not supposed to talk anyhow. You pick that guy, not take you how many. The next day, the guy comments today, the next day, I don't pick him. That is to say, anybody can be picked. Now, this same you thought say you invited Yahaya Bello, you called him, and he tell you say make him day in village, meaning say una fit trace him. Why can't you chase Yahaya Bello? All these are one that they do. See, arrest him, go and pick Yahaya Bello up, pick him up. And I know where this guy dey. Now so they go do this Yahaya Bello thing, do before we know now. Bam, the story go end. You say if you not arrest him, you go resign. That one now you talk him, nobody put him as, you know, as something on you. Say yes, this guy must be arrested. No. Please. The Yahaya Bello thief now over 80 something. What is Yahaya Bello thief? The fees are start 4 new countries. 4. I beg. Go carry that guy. Now criminal. He's a thief. Go and pick him up. Kogi State is one of the poorest states in Nigeria. Poorest state. Middle belt. Go and pick Yahaya Bello. Now know where that guy. They go and pick him up. EFCC chairman. When I know no be all this talk 1 year because when I want pick your own, I know they do press. Now to pick Yahaya Bello, we no hard. When they can't do press, if we don't catch him, who be Yahaya Bello? If not be catching them the canoe, who is Yahaya Bello? Who him be? In the canoe when they be like say that they protect Yahaya Bello. Man, I go catch that guy and I know when they. We don't want to hear all this, leave all this press meeting. You are doing a good job, oh. We don't see what you don't they fight for the Naira part of spraying. Even if you don't they affect our shows, party and the rest. Wanna do it soon and like. But you see this Yahaya Bello, we don't want to go and catch him. Catch him. One on one whole rocha so rocha, no hard on her. Wanna go in house, go do him. Now the Yahaya Bello, go and catch that man. When I know they tell us all this thing, say if you don't catch him, Yahaya Bello is traceable. You've had a phone call conversation with him. You know where he is. Go and pick him up. When I know they tell us all this, what they tell us. If that boy own only chat, now chat, chat. The boy comment. You go fit catch up. Person will call you, never fit catch up. When I leave this thing, when they tell us, please sir, go and you know where that guy dey. Go and pick him up. Why do we have NIN? Why do we have everything? That guy is traceable. That's what they tell me. Before you know that, we go here saying don't run. Person where they village, they don't know where in there. Before you know that, we go here saying they Mali, in the Tanzania, in the Liberia. Go and pick that man up. We don't want here
to be an orphan in Nigeria's political space at the moment. Gentlemen, let's get into it. Barrister Darlington, Fubara has dissolved the cabinet screened by Victor Okojumbo that led the House of Assembly at that moment. Now, in compliance with the Supreme Court judgment that recognized Martin's Amewule faction. Fubara is playing by the rules, has always played by the rules. Is he not a man of peace? Barrister, what is he?
I have always known that the issue of River State will not end very soon. In fact, it will outlive even 2027. Because if wike want to dominate River State, I don't think it will end with Fubara. That means whoever is coming after Fubara is likely going to deal with wike or is going to contend with wike. So what Fubara is doing now, he's preparing ground for 2027 because he needed his own men to be in charge of certain positions.
Okay.
And that's the fact. So wike is losing out in all this. From all indications, he's losing out. Like I've always said, how can wike be campaigning for APC and be campaigning under PDP? Is that likely to happen in 2027? You know the end. How will people not take him serious? If he's in PDP and he's in APC, when the campaign starts proper, where will he be campaigning? You mean after campaigning for APC in the daytime, then at night he will campaign for PDP? This is why I've always told you that wike is on his way out politically.
But Barrister, when you say that wike is on his way out, now this dissolution of the cabinet is court ordered, Supreme Court ordered. Now, don't you think that it will give wike the leverage to put his own men in office as he did before? So why do you think that he's the one losing?
Look, it's not about putting your own men in there. It's about the River State people. Will they accept you and your men? That is the issue here. It is the River State that are going to do the voting. And if they are with Fubara, there's nothing anybody can do. That's what I'm telling you.
Are they with Fubara? Have they been with Fubara? Will they be with him? It looks like they abandoned Fubara in the heat of the moment, you know, when he had this fight with his godfather. The Rivers people that you are talking about, we were there. They were the ones carrying placards supporting Ibas, the sole administrator.
Those were hired hands.
Okay, so you think they can't be hired again?
No, they can't hire them because when the chips are down. Remember what happened when Ibas' wife wanted to play first lady? The women of River State told her that, look, we don't know you. You cannot address us. Remember?
But these are the same women that marched in support of Ibas.
How many women? These are APC women, hired people.
But they are Rivers people.
How many of them? Mr. Okoro, how many of them? It is the numbers we are talking about here. Remember that politics is all about number. Majority carries the vote. For Fubara to have brought peace in River State is even a win-win for him. Because at the end of the day, the River State will see him as a peaceful person.
Okay.
While seeing wike as the aggressor. So how can they now queue behind him? On what ground?
All right. Thank you, Barrister. Now let's bring Mr. Fanimo into this conversation. Mr. Dele Fanimo, a man of peace and an aggressor who survives better in Nigerian politics. What's your reaction to the dissolution of the River State Cabinet following a court-ordered judgment by the Supreme Court? Now, Fubara has complied with that judgment and dissolved the cabinet because apparently the Supreme Court said their appointment and screening were illegal because it didn't pass through the appropriate, recognized State House of Assembly.
It's not on his own terms that Fubara dissolved the cabinet.
Okay.
Apart from Supreme Court judgments, it must have been part of the deal, the concession he gave for him to have returned to Rivers State at the expiration of the emergency period of 6 months. Because one, there's no way those commissioners will not be taken out of the cabinet. He single-handedly named them, and the fight for the soul of Rivers State has just begun. And the odds are stacked against him.
Against who?
Against Fubara.
The governor, okay.
Yes, in this fight. And except we want to play the ostrich, Fubara will remain a lame dog, a lapdog for the rest of the administration till 2027. We would have to play by the rules as dictated by those who negotiated his coming back to power and his godfather. Part of the deal is what he has just done, and he's still going to do more of it. The commissioner has gone. Now, what next? The appointment of new set of commissioners. In the days ahead, by the time the House sits properly, you discover from the list of commissioners that will be forwarded to the State House of Assembly, if not all, 85 to 90% of the commissioners will come from wike. And the House that had been betrothed to wike when it was dissolved, you recall that it took them outside this country to UK. They spent some days, up to 5 days, and single-handedly bankrolled this. It wasn't on the ticket of the state government, and it wasn't on the ticket of the federal government. So, except we want to deceive ourselves, these guys are, the 27 lawmakers are betrothed to him. And if the other 4 that were on the side of Fubara wants to enjoy their stay in the House
peacefully,
peacefully, then they have to come back to the fold and subsume themselves under Amehule, because they will only have their say, but they will never have their way until the expiration of this House of Assembly's tenure. So, by and large, it's technically the Rivers people that are likely to lose in this game of wit and power play.
All right. Now, Barrister, you seem to think otherwise from Dele Fanimo's position. Now, a new cabinet will be constituted in due time. With this kind of peace in place, what do you expect coming to Rivers State? What kind of governor do you think that Sim Fubara will be? Do you expect that if he reconstitute the cabinet, that he's going to put his own men? And if he does, are they not going to go back to the trenches? Because at the soul of the struggle for, at the heart of the struggle for the soul of Rivers State, it was who takes what, when, how, and why? Are they going back to that? Do you think that Fubara will clearly go back to those days where he will say, no, I don't want this person and I want this person? So ahead of the cabinet reconstitution, what do you expect coming? What do you see? What do you think is likely going to happen?
That is where the game of wits will come to play. You know, when Niccolo Machiavelli was writing his book, The Prince, he said that the end justifies the means.
Okay.
I think this is where Fubara had to apply his political wizardry, if you have any. Because he's going to put his own men in that list, and the State Assembly may not likely approve of them. And so, if you approve that of wike and you do not approve of his own, how can he now assign portfolios to them? It will not work. Except that they approve all of them, the man may not even play ball. You are now looking at a Balarabe Musa case here, whereby the man was a UPN and the State Assembly are MPN. And because he didn't play ball, they refused to approve his commissioners. And eventually they impeached him. Look, if Fubara eventually they impeach him, I expect him this time around to go to court and challenge it, just like Obi in Anambra. Because that is
don't you think that his survival would in the court would be determined by the grounds of impeachment, the reason why they impeach him?
That's what I'm saying. Yes, because it's going to be out of selfish interest. That was why Obi won on 2 occasions.
Is that a precedent in our books?
Yes, of course there is. Yeah, you can make reference to it. If Buhari had been doing his work diligently and honestly, and you want to impeach him because he's not approved of your commissioner, the man may have his reasons. That's the truth. And so, with that reason in his kitty, he can even bring it up in court. There's no law that says you must accept certain people as commissioner. There's no law. That discretion is on you as the chief executive officer. No state assembly can impose any commissioner on you. Ditto, no national assembly can impose a minister on a president. And so based on that, Fubara still have some trump card with him if he knows how to play it.
Okay.
Yes.
So wouldn't that cause trouble for him and Rivers people?
If you want peace, prepare for war.
Okay, now Barrister, the Constitution makes it, if you are sworn in as a governor, you have 6 months. The Constitution gives you a threshold, timeline of 6 months, within which to constitute a cabinet.
Exactly.
That 6 months window, does it apply to him now that he just came back to office?
Of course.
Okay.
Of course. Because he needed to assess the situation since 6 months ago that he was out of office.
Okay.
He needed to put things in place.
So that interregnum means more like he's starting governance.
Exactly. Okay. Why do you think they stampeded him when they say, bring the list of commissioners? That was the first thing they did. Immediately they sacked. What does that tell you? Because they are being teleguided by somebody. These are the things they needed to put in place to now hedge the governor. They now put him in total hostage. But the guy is I think, is a bit faster than them.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, they have not submitted any names.
Okay.
Rather, he sacked the one that I...
Don't you think they are still in the works, still in the cooks?
But the fact remains that he did not hurriedly submit any names.
Maybe because the names have not been given to him.
No, nobody will give him... if they are going to give him, he wouldn't have sacked the ones he met now. He would have asked them to continue.
No, the court ordered him to sack them because they clearly were his own men. And the people that put him there don't want those men.
Listen, you see that matter. As long as this says him. No, nobody will give him. If they are going to give him, he wouldn't have sacked the ones he met now. He would have asked them to continue.
No, the court ordered him to sack them because they clearly were his own men. And the people that put him there don't want those men.
Listen, you see that matter. As long as this state of emergency has come and gone, it has overtaken that court decision. I hope you know. That court decision is now what? Expired.
No, the court decision that asked him to dissolve that they recognized the Okojombo House of Assembly.
I said the state of emergency have overtaken that court.
I don't think so.
Because listen now.
Minister, that's what I want us to understand. Are you saying that the state of emergency has vacated the decision of the Supreme Court, which said Victor Okojumbo-led House of Assembly was illegal and couldn't have approved anything for Rivers people? Is that your position?
Yeah, because the state of emergency did not allow the governor to implement that decision. Can't you get it?
Okay.
The man was trying to...
Are you speaking from a legal point of view?
Of course. Because if they wanted to obey the Supreme Court, they would have allowed the Supreme Court judgment to, run its course.
Without the state of emergency?
Yes.
Okay, now I think Dele here has a reaction.
Because one, there is a new agreement now that superseded that.
Which agreement is that?
The one they signed out before the state of emergency was lifted. Are you getting it?
Signed by who?
It's not in public domain.
Oh, really?
It's not legal.
It's not legal.
You cannot, nobody can cite it.
Okay, fine. So
it's a gentlemanly agreement. So it's not actionable.
Okay, the one that is not legal is the one between Wike and his lawmakers, Abi?
No, as long as that law, I don't need to be a lawyer to rationalize this. There is a subsisting judgment that has not been vacated.
It cannot be. Because
there is a subsisting judgment. Why not tell me to be a lawyer?
Barrister, hold on. Barrister, you have your time.
I don't want him to derail.
No, but it's not a matter of derailment. No, Barrister, it's not a matter of derailment. Excuse me, I'd like for you to hold on.
Hold on.
You have your time.
This is a court judgment. Let us interpret it properly.
Barrister, you have said
as long as that judgment was not implemented, it is now null and void. The brother cannot go back there.
That is your opinion.
He cannot go back to that judgment. He cannot.
Barrister, that is your opinion. Okay, so allow the lawyer to have his time.
You see, as long as there is a subsisting judgment that nullifies all the action of the 4-man House of Assembly members, and it has not been vacated.
There's no way it can be vacated because
it's Supreme Court judgment. Fine. So there is no way you can vacate that judgment on the fact that because emergency rule lasted. That judgment was not predicated on the date or termination of emergency rule. That judgment was not tied to emergency rule. I read that judgment.
Hold on, Mr.
Barrister, you will react.
I don't want this man to derail.
Barrister, allow me to derail. Allow me to derail.
No. His opinion is not.
Barrister, when he's done, you cannot counter him.
That judgment did not envisage that there will be a state of emergency.
Excuse me, sir. When he's done, you can now counter him.
What if the damage has been done?
No, you can do damage control. You can do damage control.
We are here. We have the time.
We still have about 30 minutes to run through all of
this. You see, this thing is very clear.
Okay.
Except we want to apply sentiment or emotion into it. And judgment, law does not permit such.
Okay.
This judgment has a life of its own, independent of either emergency was declared. Emergency rule was outside of this judgment. And so, no institution advocated this law. As a matter of fact, it's only Supreme Court judges that can sit and take a second look at this judgment and then say,
and reverse
we are reversing. And as long as it doesn't happen, that judgment stays till the termination of this administration's life, which is 2027. So the emergency rule cannot on its own stultify the action of that judgment. And that is why, after all, Fubara has an attorney general in that state before the dissolution of this cabinet. He has lawyers that have been defending him over to Supreme Court. He would have consulted them. And they know that the emergency rule cannot in any way interfere in this judgment.
All right, Barrister. Barrister, before you... Okay, go ahead so that you don't lose your time.
Are you aware that Fubara was not allowed to implement that Supreme Court judgment? Are you aware?
Which judgment?
The judgment of the Supreme Court that says, you go back and restate the lawmakers and pay them their salary. Let them start their plenary. And then what's it again? Rebuild their place of business. Is that not what they were? And then conduct a French local government election.
I'm not sure that it was not allowed. I think there was a problem, a miscommunication.
Oh, no.
They were saying you cannot invite us on social media.
It was still in the saddle when that judgment was
going back and forth and all of that before the state of the meeting.
Fubara was in the saddle.
We saw this.
There was no declaration of emergency when that judgment was passed. And for about 3-4 weeks before emergency rule came,
they were going back and forth.
No, oh my God! You can see what I'm saying. It was deliberate. They are working towards an answer.
The fact that it's deliberate is just for your own judgment.
Hold on. That is the more reason why we should look at this thing from a dispassionate angle, because
there is nothing dispassionate about this.
Fubara made effort to implement that Supreme Court judgment.
How does effort count in this case?
It counts.
It doesn't.
No, hold on. It counts because listen very well. If the man did not make effort to implement that judgment, we can blame him.
What effort did he make?
He made effort by going to the lawmakers, but they locked him out.
How did he go to them?
How do you go? Did he inform them that he was coming?
He didn't tell them he was coming. He didn't lie them. They said
he didn't.
He did. How may not be a lawyer? Because a journalist old enough to understand some of these.
Hold on. Okay. How did they communicate to Fubara? How did they communicate?
The same way he communicated to them.
Yes. So
there was a stalemate. Propped up by both sides.
I don't think so.
I think both sides were actually playing.
Where were they holding their?
And they were all caught in the crossfires.
The man sent a message where they were holding their what? Their sessions. Yes, and he went to that gate, and they locked him out. So what are you talking about? As a governor, are they not the one who's supposed to come to him? But he still went to them.
No, it's not. They are not the one to come to him. The Supreme Court gave a judgment that he has to obey. And obey what? Obey the 27 lawmakers, that they are the bona fide lawmakers. That should be.
A lot of people will quarrel with the word.
What I said.
Okay, let me not use obey. Let me not obey. But that this thing should be reverted back to the 27 lawmakers.
That he should resubmit the budget to the 27.
Now, and the fact that it was referred to take the budget back to the 27 lawmakers, it also validates the existence and the bona fide lawmakers that should sit over that budget.
Listen, are you aware that when there was a state of emergency, there was another budget presented by the sole administrator?
That is another matter. It has nothing to do with this.
That's what I'm telling you.
It has nothing to do with this case.
Hold on.
Let us iron this case out.
Okay, hold on.
And I am telling you,
are you telling me that
there is nothing is driving at that will validate this position?
Hold on. I am telling you that the state of emergency has rubbish what the Supreme Court.
Chukuma, you are a lawyer by association because your wife is a lawyer. And we also understand some of these things. I may be lettered, I may not be learned, but at least I understand English to some extent. The truth about this is, if you want to be dispassionate,
I am trying to.
As the law dictates,
we are holding a conversation.
Yes, as the law dictates, that judgment still subsists.
It doesn't.
No, that's your position. Now, the barrister has a different position.
He has not been able to convince me that you have to vacate that judgment.
The judgment is not mine. The judgment is for viewers to make. Both of you have.
That's what I'm saying. Look, he has to give me unassailable points for me to consider that judgment should be vacated.
Gentlemen, we are not holding a debate.
Hold on.
We are just holding a conversation.
That judgment does no longer exist because the presence of the sole administrator has
now, barrister, in dissolving the press statement put out, by the chief press secretary to the governor, said that following the Supreme Court judgment, that is why we are dissolving the cabinet. So,
if the governor, because whatever is coming from the chief press secretary is the governor's position on anything.
They want to lash on to it.
Okay.
That is not the true position.
Okay, in fact, so you think they are playing politics with it?
So
Fubara does not know what to do when he allowed that statement.
Barrister, I'd like to ask you a question.
Yes.
I'd like to ask you a question. Fubara has an attorney general. And I want you to review what happened to him legally in the past 2 years. Will you, in the court of justice, in the court of high court, appeal court, and Supreme Court, and all of that, do you think that his attorney general gave him very, very useful advice, legal advice?
The same thing, the same way the president have an attorney general.
Okay.
Did he give him a sound advice before he declared state of emergency in Rivers State? No, tell me. Look, the attorney general.
You know why I ask this question? Why I ask this question? A lot of people, including lawyers that I've spoken to, believe that the attorney general of Rivers State was not on top of his job. That he gave Fubara some legal advice that turned out, to harm him. And they all even said that the man was a university professor who hadn't practiced law before, and they just brought him from the university and made him AG. So that's why I'm asking you this question. What are your thoughts?
Whenever you are an orphan, you are always a guilty person in a village square. An orphan, he can never get justice in a village square. That is the truth. Whatever you are saying about the attorney general arrested, on what ground? The Supreme Court gave a judgment, and Fubara went ahead to implement that judgment. So, what wrong did the attorney general do? What did he commit?
I just asked an honest question.
I said he didn't do anything.
Okay,
it's not that the federal government was working towards an answer.
Okay, so he's a good attorney general.
Because if they wanted to,
the federal government working to an answer, was it the federal government that Okay, federal government advised him to go and withdraw the case in court against the 27 lawmakers. He had an attorney general, and the attorney general didn't conduct due diligence to ensure that the other parties, too, the other party withdraws their case, but they didn't. So what form of attorney general would that be?
That's what I want to know. One of the things they told him in the 8-point agenda. He signed in Asoro.
No, the 8-point agenda was shared between him and the other party. He met his own part of the bargain. The other party didn't meet. And he had an attorney general who should have advised him on the steps to take. And I'm asking you, did he give him proper legal advice?
Hold on, he did.
Okay.
He did. Do you know why? Because whichever way you look at it, it's like a catch-22. Fubara is already a guilty person here. Even when the 8-point agenda was declared by the president, nobody blamed the Wike for all his atrocities. It was Fubara. So,
okay, so the legalities were subsumed in politics.
Of course, okay, because beautiful. If you look at it from every angle, Fubara has already been declared the guilty party here. And that is why the man was doing everything to bring peace. When they say you should go and withdraw, why did they say him to go and withdraw? But they didn't tell the others. Okay, now nobody's blaming Berami for not withdrawing. You can imagine. Why is it that nobody blaming Berami?
Okay, but I want to ask you a question.
Before you ask me a question. Now, let's go back to what happened at that period. Fubara was invited to Aso Rock, and they gave him, as part of peace deal, there was this 8-point agenda that has to be followed through.
Okay.
As soon as he came out, he came back to River State and said he signed under duress and that the correct pen he uses, he didn't use. That is to say, there is some element of deviance
okay.
to that agreement.
He went ahead.
Sorry, Barrister, let him have
He went ahead to implement those agendas.
Will you allow him to
Okay, go ahead.
Yes. Dele, go ahead.
That shows some measure of deviance to that agreement. That is enough room for his team of lawyers, probably headed by his attorney general, to look at these 8 points and see where these points would lead Fubara. But probably out of desperation to hold on to power at all costs. Something you rejected in the open that Rivers people clapped for you, celebrated you, you still went ahead to implement. Is it the federal government that forced you to implement? Good. Was he arrested? Good. Was there any gun put to his head? Good. When he had, you see, let us not excuse some measure of greed and unbridled ambition
gentlemen,
in all of this.
We have another topic.
What is important here? Is it what you said or what you did that is important? Look, you can see. Is it what you said is the
what you said should be the basis of what you do?
No, what you did is more important than what you said, because this man went ahead to implement.
Now,
that,
if you go to a law court, Barrister, between what you said and what you did, which one is admissible as evidence?
It is what you did that will take preeminence. What you did, yes. That is where the actus reus and mens rea come in. What you think, what you thought of in your mind, and what you did.
What you executed.
So what you did is more important.
Okay, now then I want to ask you. Last week, Fubara also dissolved the pensions board set up by ABAS. Another dissolution. Now, in fact, that was the first one. Now, this wasn't court ordered. Could it be a move to get a share of Rivers' political structure? Do you see him fighting back? Is he trying to fight back or what? What do you see?
You see, there is no way. There is no way Fubara can fight this battle and hope to succeed. Okay. Because
even if
the grounds are already laid,
Rivers people fall behind him.
Even if the whole of Rivers people, the only way that can if Fubara decides to act contrary to the tenets of this agreement, the only way is for Riverians to kidnap the 27 lawmakers and keep them somewhere where they will not be able to see the maze. Don't talk of sitting. If these people has the maze, we have seen legislators sacking governors outside of the floor of the assembly. The only symbol of authority they require is that maze. And in this case, there is no way they will not have access to the maze. So, the only option for Fubara in this matter is to play by the rules.
Okay.
And quietly serve as like an obedient servant
that he should be. Now, I wanted to ask about, Barrister, you made reference to 2027. Do you think that Fubara will contest 2027?
Let us get there before we think of how to vote. But let me say something.
Okay, say something.
In 1964, remember the Wild West, what caused it? Election.
Okay.
Akintola and Awolowo could not agree. And you know what happened?
Okay.
Is that not true? When the state of emergency was declared in that western region, and that made the Wole Soyinka to go to western
region radio,
to go and declare the true result in 1965, and of course in 1966, you know what happened. What I'm saying here is that you see this thing Wike is doing, it may turn out very bad at the end of the day. Mark my word.
Okay.
It will turn out very bad if you're not careful. Because I don't see the reason why that one want to control Rivers State. Nobody support what is bad.
Okay.
There's no reason why Wike should be the focus point in the crisis in Rivers State.
But Barrister, no one is supporting what is bad. We are just holding a conversation here.
Let me say Chukuma. Because he's telling me that you should play by the rules.
Yes.
A governor should play by the rules.
I want to say this.
Rule led by Wike.
Whatever thing you want to say about Fubara sold out Rivers State to Wike.
It's a lie.
How did he do it?
It's a lie.
Is it compulsory that you must be a governor at all costs? Why did you agree to all those terms?
Which term?
With Wike?
Which term?
Before he made you governor?
Wike says there were no terms.
Look, under the law.
Chukuma, you know this.
No, I'm not saying. Wike said there were no terms.
Now you are now making Wike look like a devil.
Listen,
and Fubara is
a lie.
All of them sold the Rivers out.
Under the law, if you enter
for the period of Wike's tenure, 28 billion was IGL. And Fubara was declaring 13 billion as the one in custody of the treasury of the state.
The governor.
Was he blind and deaf when he was doing that?
Please don't go there. He was the chief executive. If he did not obey him, now they say he's fighting his godfather.
Then they will sack him and go.
The man wanted to be in charge and correct.
Can you imagine?
Yes, can you imagine? It's like this.
What are you justifying?
It's like this thing that we are talking of Obi coming in to correct all this.
I'm not saying Wike is good at what he's doing, but Fubara should not be deodorized.
Oh, really?
They connive to deal with Rivers State people.
It's a lie. It's a lie. It was
what lie is in it?
It is a Wike.
I gave you an example that you cannot fault.
I like the point you have brought us to. I like the point that you have brought us to. They connived to defraud Rivers people.
Yes.
Now, what role have Rivers people played in taking back their state?
It has always been like this. Were we not here when they took this man, Kogi State former governor, Yaya Bello, to court, and he was granted bail? The following week, they hosted him to a big rally, and they were singing and dancing before him, and he became a hero. Is that not the people that their money got missing along the line? It's the same thing Rivers people have done now.
I have just told you what Niccolo Machiavelli said about the end justifying the means. If you want,
that should be
it should be a principle. Yes, if you want to achieve,
isn't that some form of sloganeering?
No, because hold on. How do you take over a bad system and correct it? Is it by saying outside or by getting in? It's when you get it, you're not corrected. That's what Fubara did.
Okay,
what has he corrected? What has he corrected?
What is he corrected?
What has he corrected?
What is correct? I mean, the whole world has done what
for the first year of his administration. What did he correct?
Gentlemen, Barrister, I want to ask you a question.
Yes.
I want to ask you a question. Akpabio was in Owerri yesterday alongside the president in the commissioning of projects and a book written by Hope Uzodimma highlighting the achievements of the APC in the past 10 years. Now, in that meeting, in that event, Godswill Akpabio promised the president, Mr. President, I assure you that there will be more governors from the opposition parties, talking about PDP, Labour Party, defecting to the APC ahead of 2027. Is this part of a grand plan to make Nigeria a one-party state? What do you think? This kind of comment from a highly placed government operative, where is it coming from? What's your reaction?
You see, sycophancy has a limit.
You think it's sycophancy?
If he's not sycophancy, tell me why should a man who calls himself president of the Senate make such a statement?
It's not sycophancy. He said it. Delta moved. He said it Akwa Ibom move, and we see more coming to APC.
If he has some respect for his name and his office, he shouldn't be saying this in the public because he has compromised his office. The three arms of government are supposed to be independent of each other. Okay, what did the president promise the Senate now? If all the governors come into APC, is it to the benefit of the president or to the benefit of APC? These are two different things.
The president is the leader of the party.
It's not enough. They cannot promise him such thing because it is not within their power to do that.
Okay, now he did. What are the implications?
That is the implication that he has exposed himself. In fact, he has ridiculed himself.
What should Nigerians do?
We wait for them in 2027 and tell them that, look, man proposed, but God disposes. We tell them that.
Okay.
Thanks for watching, guys. My people, wetin be una take concerning this matter wey dey ground? Do well to give the video a massive thumbs up, help us share, like, and drop your opinion on the comment section.